is the UK Brand Show with Penny Williams and Mark Challoner.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the UK Brand Show with me, Mark Challoner. Penny Williams is away this week, so we'll not be having Penny with us today. But I thought we'd crack on because I wanted to show you some particular things we've had some responses about on a previous show. So we've talked in the past about monetizing and podcasts and virtual conferences, etc. And we've touched around that. And I wanted to share with you today some insights I've found from what we've experienced in my own association in the news media industry with regard to virtual events and what I've experienced elsewhere. And what are the lessons I think we can all pick from. I was with a friend of mine at the weekend who was talking about he's being given the task now of putting together all his company's digital offerings in terms of conferences and seminars, of which they do a lot of, and they're building their own platform. And there were some things I'd found in a recent presentation by the Mobile Marketing Association and their annual conference as to what could be the future in terms of developing a platform for your virtual events. Because I think at the moment, so my association, it's called the International News Media Association, to which I'm attached to. And there we had a big conference. We have an annual conference and we have conferences all around the world, but we have a major one every year called the World Congress. And that's normally in a destination such as what it was going to be this year, Paris. And we had lots of things lined up in terms of opening receptions at the Louvre and various gala dinners, etc., exhibitor halls, all that sort of stuff. And of course, it all had to get canned. It was due to take place in May. So instead, we turned it into a virtual conference. Now, the lessons we learned firstly straight away is that we read that most people do not really pay too much attention to online Zoom calls and all the rest of it. When they go beyond 2.5 hours, that seems to be the limit. So what would have been 3 days of content, we split over 9 days over 3 weeks. So 3 days a week spread out over the 3 weeks, and we had 9 days, and it was something like 36 hours of content. So we spread it so it was no more than 2.5 to 3 hours a day to keep people's interest and also to fit in with their diaries now. It's impossible really to do that in 9 consecutive days. So we did that, went very well. What we're doing now is looking to see how do we make that different for the future? How do we make it better, even though it was good? So you can always improve on things, obviously. So that's where the mobile marketing thing came in. And I was really impressed by what they showed. So rather than just have a moderator or a presenter, and then you have the various presentations which will appear on screen by sharing the screen, and then there's a Q&A afterwards. That's your normal webinar format, and I do that sort of stuff every week as a rule anyway. But this particular thing was grander. It was a World Congress, a virtual World Congress. So going forward, what is the future for such events, and how can we make them more interactive, more of a better user experience, which at the end of the day is what it's all about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen with you all now, and you can see the presentation as I saw it for the Mobile Marketing Association. So first instance, I'm going to put this into Play Slideshow, and here we go, you can see. So what I was impressed about this is, as I say, if I compare it to the conference I would have been involved with, normally there is, as I say, presentations in a main room, there is an exhibitor hall, and there's a networking lounge, etc., etc. So what these guys have tried to do, which I was very impressed with, is create something which tries to replicate that in a virtual way. Now, of course, it's impossible to do that totally, but I think they made a really good job of this. So just to go through what you can see on the screen, they have on the screen their various partners, so they can still charge sponsorship fees for the various sessions. They have VIP partners, breakout sessions, I'll come to them in a minute, supporting partners, etc. And if you look under that, in the middle of the screen there, you see 6 little buttons. one for main stage sessions, another one for the exhibitor hall, so you still have these things virtually, 3 for the breakout sessions. There's a networking lounge still, a resource center and information hub. And I wanted to share with you the main things I thought were really good, which you could possibly take and either build yourself or use somebody else's platform that's already built. I think in this particular case, if you look at the bottom of the screen, they've used a platform and a company called Communique Conferencing. So, but anyway, see what you think. So first thing I clicked on was the main sessions stage. So here you have it's live. So people have logged on, they've gone to the agenda button, they've clicked on the session they want to attend, which is, as I say, live, and they've been able to watch the video of the person on the screen doing that. You also get this menu, if you like, of all the sessions that are either on. So you can see the top one says live in the top corner, or you schedule your own diary to let you know when the next main live session is coming on that you want to attend. So that's the first thing that's really good. If you also notice on the right hand side of the screen, there's a little icon of a briefcase, a little orange symbol. What's great about this is that if you click on that, if you like the presentation, you can click on that and it sends the slide deck of the presentation direct to your personal briefcase, your virtual briefcase. So at the end of it, you can take your briefcase away with you and you have all the presentations of the ones that you quite fancied. So it's quite nice the way this is done. The user experience is good. You can share stuff with people as well, as you can see. And it tells you how long you've got to go. If you look at the second one down, how long you've got to go before the next presentation and what time it's taking place, etc. So that was the first thing that was really good. What I also liked is that you were able to ask questions virtually here, as you can on Zoom systems and similar ones. So she's got the slide up saying, say my name, that's a current slide. She's talking about the presenter, and you can ask a question. And it looked a bit more graphic, a bit more intuitive, I'd say, rather than say Zoom. Very nicely presented. And as I say, at the end, the presentations, you can see them all there. And at the end of it all, you can always go back to the agenda, and you can always go to the survey to let people know what you thought of what's been happening. And that's then goes into that briefcase. So the virtual impact agenda is always in your briefcase, and the event survey post-event is always in your briefcase. So that's and in my case, you can see I put in here the presentation about when to get out of your own way in my briefcase to take away with me. Now, the other thing to say is I can also go into the networking lounge. So if I go to the networking lounge, normally in a real sense, of course, you'll be standing there in a room. It'll probably be sponsored, and you'll be all having drinks together at the end of the day, and you can see who you want to talk to and go over, have a chat with them, etc., etc. Well, let's try to do that in a virtual way. So again, it lists all the people who, and this is live, so these are all the people who are attending the conference at this moment in the virtual sense. You can scroll down, see who they are, where they're from, and you can either click the chat button in green there, and hopefully they'll pick it up and see it, and you can make contact either then or later. Or you can actually say, I'd like to talk to you right now, can we get together and talk about whatever. So it does try to create this virtual networking lounge, which is quite cool as well. So there we have also the breakout sessions. So the breakout sessions, some are live and some are recorded. So you have the choice here, I think, with both of these. So this one's telling me I have this thing called Beyond Buzzwords coming up at 12 noon. It's in partnership with a sponsor. So again, you don't lose any sponsorship revenue. And you can wait for that to come up live, or you can go back and watch the breakout sessions later. They're always there once they've been recorded. They're there for you to go back to and again put into your virtual briefcase if you want to take it home with you. We've also got a virtual conference hall. And what I quite like about this, you click on the homepage which says Exhibitor Hall, and up pops all the logos and little icons, as you see in the middle of the screen there, with the sponsors. So they've all paid a fee to be involved. So if you click on any one of those, what you'll find is an option. So in this one, in Cubic, you get a chance to get some support, for what's happening in your company with regard to COVID and how Cubic can help you there with their efforts. You can get a chat facility going. So you can click on this and you can see what they're offering in terms of, sometimes you get a video, sometimes they've recorded a video to say, hey, we are Cubic and this is us standing at our virtual booth, and come and talk to us later. You can't speak to us live today, but you can go through chat, or you can contact us later. This is what we're about. This is what we would have told you if we'd seen you face to face. Please get in touch. So it's quite a nice thing to actually create this sort of feel that you're still meeting people, and they're all, of course, live for the entire session, for the entire conference. They're on standby waiting for people to click on to see them, to say, yes, I'd like to talk to you. Can we talk further? And we can do that through the chat facility on the Exhibitor Hall tab. So altogether, I thought this was a really good idea. They've got lots of people, lots of opportunities still for monetization. You don't have to lose all the revenue because you've gone virtual. So you can see again how people can just start to chat with each other, and we can. This is a AppsFlyer, who are a exhibitor, and again you can see they've started. Someone started a conversation saying, "Thanks for stopping by at AppsFlyer. We're the market leader in mobile app distribution, etc., etc. How can I help you?" There's a live messaging facility with the exhibitor. Again, back to the networking lounge, just to share a bit more detail on that. It gives a feeling that you're in one by the graphics, which is nice. And again, you can see, you can talk to everyone as you can on the same Zoom call. You can talk to individuals and say, let's get together in terms of virtually. Can we get together to talk about X, Y, or Z? It's all very nice and nicely done. And what I also liked was they had incentives. So of course, being virtual and being digital, you can actually see who from the registrations, who has actually clicked on and been to a particular session and what their journey has been throughout the conference. And you can see here, for every breakout session you get, in this particular case, they're giving you a 500 point value. Every main session you take, you get another 500. Every booth you visit, you get 100, etc., etc. At the end of the day, there are prizes being awarded, and they're simply e-cards, gift e-cards, which they've sent out to people as just an incentive for people to attend the conferences and at the sessions themselves in the conference. And they could be sent to you by credit to your bank account or PayPal. So it's really, really nicely done. What I'm not sure is they've not released the figures yet, but we're not sure the exact participation levels of each of those things. But I do think you can probably build something to suit yourself for your virtual event. Now, I've mentioned that you don't have to lose money when doing this. So in terms of monetizing virtual events and you know, for example, webinars or conferences, etc., as we've just seen, there are various ways you can do that. And it seems to be the smart money from the event industry seems to be that virtual events are indeed the new normal. I know from my own association, we're looking at maybe budgeting our books for next year based on no face-to-face conferences at all. Maybe one or two at the end of next year, but maybe not prior. I think there's a lot of people maybe in mid-management who might be going, oh yeah, when the flights are back up, which they're starting to now, I'll be coming back and I'll be back there next spring. It's all very well I'm saying that, but whether the people who have the purse strings in the company will allow those things, and whether the CEOs, etc., will allow that is another matter. So I think virtual events are with us, but the smart money, as I say, seems to be saying that we'll soon be joined by hybrid events, which is really both formats of live and virtual. So what that means is you have a live host, maybe, and like I am now live on screen, and I will introduce people, and then maybe we'll bring one or two in I can talk to face to face here next to me. But mainly it's virtual, but with an element of live, and that hybrid event seems to be the way forward. But there's various ways to say you can still monetize things. So in terms of session sponsorships, you can create a waiting room. As you know, on Zoom, say, if you can allow people into the session when you want, if you're the moderator or the host. So you can put waiting room transition slides in with sponsor messages. You can have an official intro video before you start your session itself. We could have started today, for example, with a video from a sponsor. Pop-ups with call to actions on can be quite good. Something, I hate the word pop-ups, and you probably do as well in terms of digital, because it can be annoying, but in the right way, it can be done well. So this is talking particularly about a mid-session one. So here is the guy presenting, and people asking questions down the right-hand side there. And this company, this particular company here called Feather, there's a number of companies do this. They can create pop-ups during the session, which talks about, and it's linked to the video of the guy talking. So as soon as he mentions about powerful new revenue streams with sponsored retargeting, in this case, a box pops up which says, would you like to know more? And it takes you through to either a web page or a form to fill in, which says, I'd like more details about what you've just talked about, please. And you click out and you end up back where you started. So you don't lose the connection with the session. And there's another different example from a different people, the Association for Success.org. And they're talking about badass leaders in the association industry. And again, you can see on the right-hand side, they've got this thing saying, are you interested in hearing more about Feather, about what they're doing, etc.? Yes or no, not right now. You can choose to just get rid of the pop-up. More ideas are really around things like the sponsorship the sponsor representative introducing the speaker live. So if you're used to using Zoom and the like, or Teams, you can have someone leading the discussion, and that then links back to the speaker for the day. So a moderation facility, if you like. So the moderator or the host can then thank the sponsor. That's another option. And the sponsor logo can be in the virtual background of the speakers. I do that sometimes myself, and we've just, simple as putting UK Brand Show behind me today. So the banner or the logo, or through a video again, can be there throughout the session. There's lots of ways and creative ways to make sure that you're doing this. And there are various platforms you can use to get beneath the skin, if you like, of how you use the data that you collect from this as well. One of which is this event networking platform. So that you can actually, it's called Grip. You can check this out for yourself, but you can see how any attendees that come in, you can find where they're going, where they're moving to, what they're clicking on, what they're not, as I mentioned in the virtual conference earlier. And you can use that for sponsorship information too. It's if the data is collected in the right way, of course. Another one's called Socio. You can check those out later for yourself. The other one is you get a sponsor presenting a session during the conference, and we've done that in my news association. They pay for a small section. They put, say, a 5 or 8, 7 minute section with a Q&A from the audience afterwards for those that want it. And it's relevant, obviously, to the session that you've actually put out there. If it's advertising or it's editorial or whatever it might be. Similarly, you could have a sponsor co-presenting a case study with a customer. That's quite popular, and we do that quite a lot at the moment. I'm doing a webinar this week, which is exactly that, a platform of people who are paid for a webinar in the news industry, and they work with the news industry, and they have a client who's coming on to talk about their experience using their particular platform. Sponsor could moderate a panel. You could have a supplier panel with several sponsors on, talk about how they differ from each other and what they offer that's different. Or a solution showcase, which is really about product demonstrations with live Q&A from the suppliers. All different ways you can start to monetize or continue to monetize what you might have done before in a different way. And I think again, this is just a quote I picked up from the event industry's webinar recently, which was saying that all together, we all out there have had this not planned, but collective crash course in virtual and maybe hybrid events over the past, 12 months even, and will continue to do so for another, maybe 12, 18 months. But that will all permanently change our sponsor and our exhibitor expectations. So what we really need to do is just to be ahead of the game and make sure that we are facing what people want from a conference these days when they're not allowed to travel, maybe, or just unable to travel. So anyway, I hope that's good for you. It's a shorter session today, but I thought it was an important one to keep the momentum going with the show, and I hope you find that useful. If you have any questions on this, then please do contact me. It's email, it's mark@theukbrandshow.co.uk. If you want to follow us on Twitter, if you want to watch this video back, you can see us on the YouTube channel. Just search for the UK Brand Show. And it's on our website, which is, surprisingly, the ukbrandshow.co.uk. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again soon, and we'll be back with some more guests. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.